Hey y'all, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to do the Christian romance book tag. Alright y'all, I am so excited for this video. This is an original tag that Oceana from Oceana Gotta Read 'Em All created. I will leave her video down below. So excited to be filming this. I already said that, but I am. So yeah, we're gonna dive into the questions. I love Christian romance, and it has been such a journey to read all of these great books that I'm going to talk about in this video, and I'm going to really try to hold it in. I have a lot of books that I just pulled out here. I don't know how I'm going to talk about each and every one because I still need to do a recommendations video, but you may see some repeats from here to that recommendations video. It is what it is. But just so we can get this out the way, I love Christian romance, and I'm probably going to be fangirling about all these books. So without further ado, let's get into the questions, okay? So question number one is, what book got you into reading Christian romance? Now, first and foremost, I don't remember all of Oceana's answers, but I know some of the books she did talk about on here are going to repeat in this video because she is the OG girl that I found on YouTube for Christian romance. The influence. So I'll give all her the credit on this, okay? So a lot of these, if you follow her, you probably already heard about these books. I've talked a lot about these books as well, and a lot of people in the community have. But again, these are just the favorites, and this is what it is. So now that disclaimer is out the way, so again, sorry for any repeats. That's what I'm saying. Because I can't remember all of her answers, so I may repeat some of her answers too. So we love to see it. It's okay, because guess what? We're giving all the Christian romance the love, okay? So, but what book really got me into reading that? I can remember in late 2021 when I finally started kind of transitioning into Christian romance. I was reading a lot of secular books. You kind of know a lot about my journey. If you've been here any amount of time, you know the books I used to read, and they were definitely not clean romance or Christian romance. And so I found my way back to the Lord when I was 26 or 25. And it's just been a journey ever since then. You know, conviction hits at different times, and everybody has their own levels with different things in romance, but it's been such a journey for me, and I can just remember my heart being stirred more for the Lord. And when I found Oceana and several other of the ladies here in the Christian BookTube community, I was like, there are good, clean reads. We don't have to have this stuff. And I think a lot of people are still trying to figure that out. I think a lot of people don't realize that there are good, clean reads or faith-filled reads that are not just your, well, I guess what Christian fiction gets a bad rap for, the cheese and, you know, Amish fiction and all of that, which those books are not bad. I'm just saying that is what a lot of people think of when they think of Christian fiction, and that's a reason that some don't want to read it. And, you know, there's just a lot of great books out there that we're going to talk about that just defy the norm, defy the stereotype of what people think, I should say. And I found that when I started seeing like Oceana's recommendations and all of the ladies on BookTube, you know, it really opened my eyes to that. And so I started reading, I didn't start with Becky Wade, but she's an answer for another question. But I read a Sarah E. Ladd book because I still really liked historical fiction at the time. I still do, you know, but I was really enjoying some good historical fiction and historical romance books. I read some Melanie Dickerson, and, you know, I read a romantic suspense, the Submerged book back in 2021. I read a Jen Toronto, I think it was Flights of Fancy. I gave it 5 stars. And I read a Jennifer Dibble who writes Christian historical romance. And I remember being like, wow, this is it. This is what I need. And so the rest is history, okay? So I have to say that those books kind of started my segue into it. And then going into question number 2 is, what Christian romance book changed the way you look at the romance genre? And for me, those books, while they were introductory books to me, starting to see that there is another option other than the secular spicy romance, Becky Wade, Stay With Me, is what really changed the game for me, okay? And that's this book right here, honey. It is what really changed the game for me on Christian romance. I realized I was reading a lot of like Colleen Hoover books back then, you know, and just all of that stuff. I was just eating it up, you know. definitely spicy reads, okay? And once I, like I said, transitioned into clean Christian books and starting to see those faith threads in books, I was just like, I need more. And so Stay With Me by Becky Wade, I read it in 2022 for the first time. I've reread this book. I'm not even a rereader, but I definitely did reread this book last year. And this book is what did it. It was something about the layer of depth that Becky had in this with a Christian Bible influencer, or I don't know if she's an influencer necessarily, is more of like, she's an author where she wrote Bible studies, and she was dealing with a pill addiction, okay? And so she ends up having her whole life get crazy because of this addiction, and she ends up staying at, her name's Jen, and she ends up staying at this secondary home of this guy, Sam. He has like a little side home, farm home, and she ends up going in there, passing out, and then the drug problem becomes the problem, and that she has been hiding for all these years. You know, it's truly come to a forefront, and Sam is there to try to help her get out of that. And it was just beautiful, the faith. It was like so well done, and just had this layer of depth of real life problems and real people that I just really resonated with the characters. I loved how Becky did this story in this series. And so I think definitely Stay With Me is always going to be my number one pick. When someone asks me what do you recommend, this is it. You know, I always say start here, because it's so good. It's that good. And question number 3 is, what do you love and hate about Christian romance? I do not like insta love. There's still today a lot of books I read, whether they're Christian or not, even just clean reads, that have several insta love threads, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? So, you know, I don't love, sometimes I can overlook it if it's like a certain theme, you know, like, you know, some of the ones I've talked about, or I'm like, oh, that's like a 3-star, whatever. It's just fluff. It depends on the mood I'm in, I guess, if I can like overlook it. But, you know, it's never going to be like that 5-star level for me if it's full insta love. Like, I don't know. And I'm not saying that you can't have love at first sight kind of stuff, but like the way they write it is usually not well done. Okay. It's just like, wait a minute, you just met and you in love in one day. Like, it was one of those things, or 5 days or a week, or, you know, it's like, or even like 2 weeks, you know, it's like, you know, I'm not saying that you, like I said, I'm not saying that you can't fall in love quickly, but it's usually not written. I will say I have read some that if you really looked at the time that they knew each other, it probably would be considered insta love, but there's very few authors that do it well, that I can completely not even realize that it is, and we'll get into that. So, yeah, that's what I really don't like the block of cheese, okay? I can handle sliced cheese. It just depends. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, what else? What's the other part? Oh, what do I love about Christian fiction? That's what I hate, by the way, if I didn't say that, my bad. But what do I love about it? It's just honestly the examples of how the Lord is leading people in their lives in these stories, and just the layer of depth that, like, Becky Wade has, like, this layer there that, you know, I could consider her to be like the expert in Christian romance, because she just has like real raw characters, like I said, and like that's what I love to see, like the journey that they take, you know. Or if maybe someone is not a believer, like Tammy L. Gray has a really great series, we'll talk about it here in a minute, of like someone who was not a believer coming to know the Lord and having that salvation moments, right? I love seeing those. I love seeing a good salvation moment. And so yeah, those are the things that I truly love. And you know, some people say that it's unrealistic at times, but it's always a nice example of things. It's what we could strive to be like in our marriages at times. And I definitely say, do not compare your marriage to anything you read in a book. I don't do that, you know. It's just, it's all for fun and fiction and to read, and I don't want to read any kind of smut. So Christian fiction is something safe that I know I can go to and know that there's probably not going to be 100, like, you know, you could have somebody, an outlier, but I've not got into that much. There has been only a couple of times I've seen something that kind of went a little too far for me personally, but, you know, for the most part, it's usually okay. Question number 4 is, what makes a book a 5-star read? So for me, again, if it's not just full of fluff and there is no real development in the book, it's not going to be a 5-star read. For me, it has to have good character development, the relationship, like them interacting a lot, like they're actually showing the romance in the book. And of course, that layer of depth of, let's say maybe they had a hard time in life, or they were going through some hard things, and you know, kind of like My Hope Next Door by Tammy L. Gray. We see a lot of depth and layers there of, you know, past addictions and a previous boyfriend and family problems and things that were like going bad, and then there's this boy next door who's like, hey, I'm here, you know, ready to help her, and them working together, and he had his own problems. Like, those are the true 5-star reads when you can see the character's growth and faith growing and things like that. Like, question number 5, recommend a Christian romance to someone who is new to the genre. Okay, now I know I've talked a lot about Becky Wade, so this is the one that's always my go-to. I also definitely recommend My Stubborn Heart by Becky Wade. I've already talked a lot about these books on the channel here, but, you know, this one is very layered and in-depth as well. We have a man who has, you know, lost his wife. She passed away, and he is trying to find, I don't know if he's trying to find love again, but love finds him. And he's a hockey player, or previous hockey player, and he's been hiding from people, from the Lord, and just seeing his transformation in this story is just so beautiful of him going through that. There's just a lot of great depth here in this one as well. And it wouldn't be a Book Lover Made a Video tag video without multiple answers. So, of course, we got Nicole Deese, okay? All That Really Matters and All That It Takes. These are really great ones to start off with as well. This one is one of my favorites. I think I like book 1 better than book 2. I just can't remember 100%. I have to reread them to know. But they were both really great. They were both 5 stars. Nicole Deese, she has so much charm in these books. They are funny, full of just wit, we'll say. And this one has about this beauty influencer who really realizes what matters most in life. That's all I'll say. And it was so great. Okay, and then this one followed the beauty influencer's assistant. I think that's what she was. She worked for her. Okay, that's all I'll say. There's a son, and it's just very in-depth as well. So, love both of these books. Highly recommend these. And then we've got Tammy L. Gray, and I think that this is also, I would say, more so that you start with Love and a Little White Lie. With Tammy L. Gray, she does have My Hope Next Door as well, but that one's definitely more on the heavy side. If you're someone that would not want something that's very heavy, as far as like the topics and stuff, like, it's not content wise, but it's just very heavy. You know, there's a past drug addiction, and the parents, you know, are just, you know, she's fighting a lot with her parents and things like that. So, I still recommend that one too. But, Love and a Little White Lie is a really great introductory to Christian romance, because it had this girl who is a non-believer, and she is pretending to be a believer at the church, and she ends up really truly finding the Lord in this story, and it's just so good. We have this guitarist, and there's kind of a love triangle going on in this, but honestly, I don't love love triangles, but like, honestly, the way that Tammy L. Gray does it is great. Book 1 and 2 are my favorites. I don't own book 3 anymore. I didn't love book 3, but I still say book 1 and 2 are my favorites. And a lot of people like book 3, you know, but it wasn't one of my favorites. But these two are my favorites. Love and a Little White Lie and Love and the Silver Lining by Tammy L. Gray. They are top tier. And if you like animals, Love and the Silver Lining is perfect, okay? It has dogs and lots of good things in it. Okay, so yeah, those are the introductory ones that I would say for that. And then question number 6 is recommend a Christian romance to a romance lover. Now, for me, I need to say, okay, Toni Shallow, okay? I'm throwing her in here too, because if you're someone who loves, like, all the good things about the chemistry and the characters, and of course great faith content, her books are heavy in faith content if you want that in your books. And so In Search for a Prince is where I started with her. I absolutely love this book. It is just so good. And book 1 and 2 is, and this one is about Brielle. I was trying to remember her name, and she basically finds out she's a princess of this I think it's an island. Was it an island? Island Kingdom off the coast of Africa. Yeah. And so she ends up going over there, realizes that there's a grandfather that she never knew, and she meets him. He's in bad health, and they're trying to find her a prince, basically. And it is so great. The romance in these are great. I love them. Book 2 is To Win a Prince. Give it a little time, honey. There's a great salvation moment in this book. Okay, that's all I'll say. And then we got The Love Script. Okay, this one was a celebrity romance. So good. So good. It's one of my favorites. I absolutely adored it. Oh, there's a bookmark in here. I forgot. Honey, I didn't know this was in here. What? Y'all, Baker Bookhouse, honey. Apparently I didn't know I had my swag all this time. I love that it goes off script. And there is a sticker. Girl, do you about me. Okay, hey, we love to see it. Make sure you open up your books for the swag, okay? Oh my gosh, I had got the book plate, signed book plate, but I didn't get the other stuff. Look at me doing the most. Okay, anyway, like I said, I had already read this before I got my pre-order in. So, yeah, celebrity romance, full of faith, fake dating, really good. Okay, love script. Now, what's next? Okay, I was like, I am fired up. You can tell I'm on fire, okay? Well, wait a minute. Did I have something? No, we'll talk about this later. All right, number 7, recommended contemporary and historical romance. Okay, now, a contemporary romance. Where we at? Most of these have been contemporary, honey. And I got the whole historical stack. Let's start with the historical stack. Okay. Hold on. I'm sorry. Okay. So, okay. Contemporary. Dear Henry, Love Edith. Number 1. Okay. Great Christian rom-com. So good. Okay. It's like, if you like the whole, like, you've got mails type stuff, and, like, they don't realize that, they are exchanging letters back and forth, thinking that the other's elderly, and it's a fun time, okay? I talked about this already in depth. I'll link my video down below on this. But historical, okay? So, I got stacked. I didn't know where to put these. So, Pepper Basham is an author you have seen me talk a lot about, y'all. Now, I always forget to talk about these books, okay? Because I feel like I talked about them last year a lot, but then, like, looking back, I don't think I did. And maybe it was 2022. Yeah, I think I read these in 2022. Laurel's Dream and The Heart of the Mountains. These books are comforts for me. I don't know. There's something about this Blue Ridge Mountain setting, Appalachian setting, that is just beautiful to me, especially where I grew up in East Tennessee. I was like close to that area, and it feels like home, okay? And so you gotta read Laurel's Dream first, okay? I will say that, because in this one we're following Laurel McAdams and Jonathan Taylor, okay? And then in this one, The Heart of the Mountains, we're following Cora Taylor and Jeb McAdams. So it's like siblings of one from here, okay? And you see a lot of, like, you get spoiled for things that go on in Laurel's Dream. Personally, I'm pretty sure, sorry if I'm wrong on that, but I think you get the better experience if you read Laurel's Dream first. And so these are just really great, feel-good historical romances. I love Pepper Basham's books. They are top tier. She has some contemporary books, of course, like Authentically Izzy, that whole series, the Scamar series. But as far as historical, and of course, you know, like the Juliet Code, Mistletoe Countess, Cairo Curse. I've read those, love those as well, but I haven't talked about these in quite some time, and I wanted to remind you of how good these are. They just, I don't even remember, I think I might give this one 4.5, this one 5-star. They were both just really great 5-star level books, and I highly recommend them, okay? I will leave all the books linked down below that I talk about in this video, okay? Now, something I haven't talked about in a little bit as well is Kim Vogel-Sawyer, The Librarian of Boone's Hollow, and Return to Boone's Hollow, okay? I would say that there's a lot more going on in these books other than romance, but there is a nice romance in these books, and you get really attached to our characters in these, and they're just some really great stories. These are also set in like a small town. This is set in the coal mining families in the hills of Kentucky, okay? I thought it was the Blue Ridge Mountains the more I was looking at it, but maybe I'm wrong. I guess it's mountain areas, okay? It was very reminiscent of that, okay? And so this set in the Great Depression, and then we have the continuation here, and they were just, I cried. Especially in BOOKTUBE, I cried. Like, they are that good, and I just want to remind you guys of these. In this one, we're following this girl, Addie, and she dreams of becoming an author. She ends up having to take care of her family because her father loses his job, and so she ends up delivering these books by horseback to impoverished coal mining families in Kentucky. Meets this guy, there's all this stuff that goes on. Of course, then there's a side story, of course, in these with these other characters, but it's really great, and you really grow attached to the characters, okay? So, the other historical romances I want to mention are Where the Road Bends and The Letter Tree. I want to say that Where the Road Bends definitely had some good faith content. It's been a while since I've read it. It's kind of like and I didn't really even make the connection, but Oceana had made this connection. It's kind of reminiscent of Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers, the storyline a little bit. So, and I was like, girl, I didn't even notice. Yes. And so I remember loving this. It was my first Rachel Fordham book. And then the second book I've read by her is the Letter Tree. And so the Letter Tree is more like very light faith. There's really not much in there. It's more, I would consider it clean romance, but still the romance. If you are a romance lover, this is going to be good. Okay. I've already talked about it. It's one of my favorite books of the year. And then this is one of my favorite books of 2022. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember exactly. It might have been 2023, but no, it's 2022. We just came out 2023. These are great. So I will leave the books down below for you to check out. So I won't keep you here too long. Okay, now that's my mostly historical recs. Okay, for contemporary, an honorable mention will be the Prince Edward Island Shores series by Liz Johnson. I don't own book 1. I didn't love book 1 as much. Give it 3.5 stars. There was kind of like some stuff in there I just didn't really care about. You already know if you've been here any amount of time. But it's still a honorable mention because I loved book 2 and 3. I give both of these 4 stars. These were a good time. They're good family, set in Canada, the Prince Edward Island area. And, we've got some sports stuff going on in here because hockey league type stuff you can see on the back here. We got the skates and stuff. So this one's good. And like the characters are broken throughout this series, and like their families have been torn apart and there's things going on. And Mama Potts is one of the best mothers in this. Like in a series ever, really. And so you see these siblings and the things they're all wrestling with and dealing with issues with their fathers and all these different things going on that I can remember. And there's just a lot of things going on. And then this one starts off with a hurricane, Summer in the Spotlight. Starts off with a hurricane and being rescued as the hurricane destroyed the building, and like they're trying to raise money as like for this new drama theater, I think. Yeah. And they team up to raise money to rebuild the theater. That's right. And so we just see this romance blossoms in both of these, but you still see like the issues that they're having deep down and how the Lord's really working in both of them, in all of their lives in this series. And so that's why I want to mention that. I will say this one has the banana peel, and this one has the slick. Why? Anyway, I'm just saying, the covers, okay? But, yeah, book 1 is called Beyond the Tides, okay? Now, let's move on. Now we've got question number 7. No, 8. What am I saying? Recommend a booktuber who reads and reviews Christian romance. So we've got Katie from Paperbacks and Ponytails. Of course, Oceana. Oceana, gotta read them all. Lou from Christian Faith and Fiction. I follow one of these ladies. You gotta follow these ladies, okay? Keisha from A Book Like You. She started incorporating a lot more Christian fiction into her reading as well. So check her out. They have that Revived Book Club, so that's always fun. And she also has a lot of good clean reads that she reads as well. Alicia from For the Love of Christian Fiction. Hey girl, hey. We love to see all the good clean rom-coms that she's reading. Yes. And of course the cute Christian romances and historical. She reads a lot of the similar genres to me. So you definitely check her out if you're not following her. And then we've got Jeanette over at Jane Reads. She loves a good contemporary romance. I know she loves Liz Johnson and the Prince Edward Island books and things like that. So definitely check her out as well. She's read some Becky Wade. So yeah, those are the ladies. I will leave their channels down below that I can think of right off the top of my head. Okay. Now, number 9 is the Swooniest. I said Swooniest. I've been talking too long. The Swooniest male love interest in Christian romance. Okay. Now, I know this is definitely what Oceana said, but we the same. Okay, girl, hey, girl, we the same. We are the same, all right? And I'm adding in, okay, too. Anytime I think of, like, a really, oh, I got one more. Where is it? Here we go. I do have one more. Man, the stacks. I got 3. All right, so Michael from, what's it called? The Maid of Ballymacool. This did not make my top 20, y'all, but it would be number 21. How about that? I realized after I did my top 20, I was like, I should have put that in there, but I didn't. I did love this book last year. I gave it 5 stars. It still sticks with me. It's like a Cinderella retelling in a way. It's a historical Christian romance, and it has really good faith elements, and the guy in this is so awesome. Michael and Brianna are the main characters, and Michael Ray, he always shows up when Brianna needed him, and I was like, get it, Michael. We love to see it. So I was so happy. So he is definitely swoon worthy, okay? This is so good. It's probably my favorite one that she's wrote so far. So, yeah. Throwing that in there. And then, I'll leave my review down for that. If I have any reviews on these books, I will leave it down below too, if I can. If I got enough character counts, how about that? And then, of course, Sam from Stay With Me by Becky Wade. He is definitely top tier. I don't even, what am I doing? Why am I putting that up there? It ain't gonna fit. He's top tier. Something about him. And then My Hope Next Door. Asher, this is what Oceana's saying. I agree. He is the perfect book boyfriend. Guy next door. He always helping her out, protecting. Let's go. So, I love a good protector in a book. I'm sorry. So, there we go. Then we got number 10. Recommend a standalone and a series. Again, it would not be me without multiples. So, for the series, I am still standing strong on the Mandy Blake. I have not finished this whole series, y'all. But Mandy Blake is a Christian contemporary romance author that I don't think gets enough love. And I'm always going to mention her every time I can. Because she does have a little bit of cheese, okay? But it's like the cowboy. Most of her books are cowboy western cheese. I love it. So I know if you don't love cowboy romance, you may not be into this. But I think she might have some others that are not. So I'll leave her website down below if you want to check it out. But the Wolf Creek Ranch series is one series I'm trying to work my way through. I've read the first 2 books, and they were just amazing. Okay, so let me find the books I read. I already talked about these quite a bit, but why not again? So we've got book 1 is Truth is a Whisper. Book 2 is Almost Everything. Book 2 I loved more than book 1, but I still enjoy both of these, okay? He has just a protector, and usually in these, I've read another one of her Christmas books. Like, they always are so good. Like, sometimes you feel they're a little bit insta-lovey, but, like, again, she's one of the authors that I would say that even if she has what I consider insta-love in a book, I don't feel it. Like, I don't feel bad about it. Like, it doesn't feel cringy. It doesn't feel like insta-love. It feels, like, very sweet. And it's, like, the books I need at the time. So, yeah, I've been wanting to pick up the next book really soon, but I had a lot of review books on my list, so I didn't get to it. And she has a new series out. I really wanted to check it out because it had like a snowed in trope and I was not able to get to it. So I'm telling you, there's a lot of books that she's wrote that I need to get to. And so this is one that I always will recommend, this series. The first 2 books are great and I can't wait to read the rest of them. Talk about standalones. A novel proposal. I don't know if there's any faith in this one or not. I think there might be a little bit, but it's very Hallmark style. Kind of like a clean version of Beach Read by Emily Henry, and it's a novel proposal by Denise Hunter. And Denise Hunter, her older stuff was kind of a hit or miss for me, but so I don't think I want to read any of her older stuff anymore, but I absolutely love this book. I gave it 4 stars. It's a lot of fun. This author's like riding in a duplex on the beach, and the guy next door kind of her and him kind of team up to find this missing engagement ring of who's the owner, and things kind of go from there. And she's trying to like write this romance story because she's not really like one to write romance. I think that she wrote westerns or something, and like her publisher wants her to do romance. I'm pretty sure that's what the storyline is. Sorry if that's not 100%, but it was just a really great story, and it's a standalone story. And then, of course, we've got Jennifer Dibble. I've already talked about the Made About Made Cool, but these 2 books are standalones. Dance and Donegal, and then The Lady of Galway Manor. These do not correlate in any way, I don't think, from what I've understood. I don't think so. Her books are always set in Ireland, and they are always a really great time. They have good faith elements and great characters I always love. So her new release is The Irish Matchmaker that I plan to get to at some point. I will always recommend, of course, the Misty River series by Becky Wade. But I've talked a lot about that series, okay? But I love that series. It is so, so good. Stay With Me, then Let It Be Me, Turn to Me. Great series, okay? So that's it. I think that's it for the tag. So I'm not going to tag anybody. Just if you need a good video to do, please do this. And thank you, Oceana, for making this awesome tag to let us share more about Christian romance and how much we love it. All the good things there. I hope you found something new here. I know, like I said, we've all talked about these books. A lot of these are nothing new, but I hope some of you all have found a great Christian read and can appreciate that there are good, clean Christian reads out there and alternatives to the spicy stuff, okay? So, yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let's chat below in the comments, as always, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all!